I deliberately acted like a spoiled, incompetent student. In every exam, I firmly held the second-last position in the entire school. Everyone made fun of me, called me useless and worthless. But on the day of the college entrance exam, I decided that this act was over. Now I was not going to hide my real ability. The new mock exam results had come out. In a drawing room, my stepfather and mother were glowing with happiness looking at my stepbrother Lin Feng. Looking at his result card, my mother said, "Son, you are amazing. So intelligent and hardworking too. You have made our heads high with pride. You are nothing like your older brother." Then they looked at me and asked, "Liang Chun, how many marks did you get this time?" I directly answered, "This time it wasn't good. I got a total of 250 marks. Second last in the entire grade." My mother's face immediately soured, but my stepfather stopped her and said, "Leave it. Don't get too angry at him. I think Liang Chun must have tried hard. But studying also requires talent." Lin Feng immediately picked up the cue. He said, "Exactly, Mom. I am Dad's own biological son. What's surprising about me being more intelligent?" Hearing this, my stepfather became even happier. He hugged my mother and Lin Feng. All three stood there laughing and happy, like a perfect family. I stood alone on the side, as if there was no place for me in this house. I silently got up and went to my room. I didn't want to disturb those three people's happy family scene. As soon as I came to my room, I took out my mock exam papers and carefully checked them again. On every answer sheet, I had written complete answers, but they had red crosses from the teacher on them. The papers looked very pathetic to see. Looking at the papers, I took a deep breath and said, "This time I really didn't control it well." Earlier, I had set a small target for myself, 234 marks. But I controlled the essay section a bit wrongly, plus one multiple choice question also accidentally turned out correct. That's why the total became 250. A mistake, a very big mistake. I was just turning over the papers when my mother opened the door and came in. She said, "Liang Chun, this weekend your father and I are taking Lin Feng to a hot spring hotel. Since your exam result has come like this, you will stay at home and study properly. I don't want to scold you, but can't you do a little better? Why do you embarrass me so much every time?" I said softly, "Mom, isn't this what you wanted?" My mother narrowed her eyes and said, "What do you mean I wanted this? Don't talk nonsense. Just stay at home and study. Next time if you get such marks again, I will not consider you my son." With that, she slammed the door shut and left. I was left alone in the room, but my eyes suddenly sparkled. I said, "You won't consider me your son? Could there be better news than that?" Then for the next exam, I'll have to work even harder. I was very young when I understood that I was not allowed to be better than Lin Feng. While I was in first grade, I got full marks in every subject in the final exam and ranked first in the entire grade. I happily brought the report card home, thinking my mother and stepfather would praise me. But my stepfather's face turned pale. He said angrily, "Another man's blood really does run strong." My mother also scolded me. "You think you can be more worthy than Lin Feng? You want to make your dad angry." That day I was beaten. I was crying in pain, unable to understand why other children got reward for high marks, but I got beaten. When I grew a bit older, I understood everything. This was a blended family. I was the son of my mother and her first husband. Lin Feng was the son of my stepfather and his first wife. My stepfather didn't usually treat me badly, but he could not tolerate another man's son being better than his own. And my mother? As long as my stepfather was happy, she was willing to give Lin Feng even more love than her own biological son. After that, I became smart. Before every exam, I would estimate how many marks Lin Feng would get. Then I would control my marks to be slightly lower than his. As soon as my marks came below his, laughter returned to the house. People would praise my parents, saying both sons were doing well in studies. My mother would always smile and say, "Lin Feng's results are good because he is naturally intelligent. And our Liang Chun, there's a slight deficiency in his brain. He only manages a little with his father's strict guidance." Every time I heard this, I would bow my head and stay silent. But in the next exam, I would lower my marks a bit more. In this way, my ranking went from top 10 to top 100, then top 200, and by the time I reached high school, I had landed at the very bottom of the grade. My parents began to consider me their shame, but I didn't care. I knew that after college, I could leave this house. This house was never mine. On the weekend, when my parents were not at home, I solved all the mock papers and then fell asleep. The next day around noon, Lin Feng shook me awake and said, "Liang Chun, get up." The punishment for copying that the school gave, quickly write it for me. Lin Feng always did this. Whatever assignments he found useless, he would give them to me. If I refused, my mother would start crying and wailing, as if I had committed some atrocity. I was about to get up sleepily and do his work, but as soon as I looked at his head, I froze. The words came out of my mouth. "Lin Feng, what is that above your head?" He thought I was talking about his cap and said, "This? Limited edition baseball cap. Mom and Dad rewarded me for getting good results in the exam. Not expensive, just a few thousand yuan." But I wasn't looking at the cap. I was looking at a bubble floating above his head. In that bubble was written, 682 marks, High University. I was stunned. What was this? Just then, the bedroom door opened. My mother came in and said, "Feng Feng, come eat. I made your favorite braised pork. Liang Chun, you come too." Sitting at the dining table, I saw that my mother and stepfather also had bubbles above their heads. On my mother's head was written, 520 marks, Traditional Chinese Medicine University. On my stepfather's head, 620 marks, Ocean University. These were exactly the marks and universities they had mentioned before. Then I realized that perhaps these bubbles show everyone's Gaokao scores and universities. For my parents, these are the past. For Lin Feng, the future. And it seemed that only I could see these bubbles. I was still thinking when suddenly everyone's bubbles disappeared, as if it was all just my hallucination. That night I tossed and turned. The next day at school, I saw someone sleeping in my VIP seat in the last row of my class. As soon as I saw their head, I pushed them and said, "Jiang Wan, get up." She woke up and started cursing me. "Liang Chun, have you gone crazy?" I said, "This time I came second last in the entire grade. This seat is mine. Move." Jiang Wan was our school's beauty queen, and also the lowest ranking troublemaker in the grade. She was beautiful, but anger was always on her head. Many boys in school were afraid of her, but I wasn't. Since the beginning of high school, we had competed in the bottom rankings. We had a deal. Whoever came second last would get the best seat in the last row. This time, Jiang Wan came last, and I came second last. The seat was mine. Jiang Wan looked at me angrily, but accepted her defeat, picked up her bag, and sat in the seat in front of me. I was about to sit down in my victory mood when I saw a bubble above her head. And it was written, 732 marks, Tsinghua University. I froze. Jiang Wan turned around and said, "What happened? Having regrets? Then give the seat back." I came to my senses and immediately sat down. Class started. Jiang Wan fell asleep again, but I couldn't focus on the lecture. I just kept staring at the bubble above her head. If these bubbles show future scores, that means Jiang Wan is also acting like an incompetent student. 732 marks, Tsinghua University. Maybe she's going to be the topper. I kept thinking about this. Getting second last is harder than getting last. To be last, just hand in a blank paper. But to be second last, you have to score a little more than someone else, but less than everyone else. This requires very fine control. For the past 2 years, Jiang Wan and I had been competing for this position. That meant her score control skills were as strong as mine. I also started looking at the bubbles of other classmates and teachers. Most of the numbers matched their real abilities. This made me believe the bubbles were real. Then suddenly a thought came. What would be written above my own head? I was confident, but out of curiosity, I opened my phone camera and looked above my head. I was completely dumbfounded. Above my head was written, 238 marks. No university name. I went into shock. This 238 was close to my usual fake score range. But I knew I deliberately scored that much. In the college entrance exam, I wanted to show my full strength and go to Tsinghua. Then why was my future score showing only 238? I was still confused when the teacher's angry voice came. I jolted upright. The teacher scolded me for not paying attention in class and punished me by making me copy formulas after school. I bowed my head and said, "Yes, teacher." After school, while walking home after finishing the punishment copying, my mind was still stuck on that bubble. Within 2 days, I had figured out that the bubbles appear every morning at 8 a.m. and disappear 12 noon. I had verified the marks of many students and teachers. The numbers seemed accurate, so my own score of 238 became even more frightening. Coming home, I saw Lin Feng in my room. Seeing me, he quickly hid something in his pocket. I asked, "What are you doing in my room?" He came over again and said, "Why can't I come? Don't forget, you are a burden in this house. All the household expenses are borne by my father." He said that and left. If it had been before, I would have ignored it, but today I checked my desk drawer. My face changed. The full score practice papers I had solved in the morning were gone. If Lin Feng had seen that I could solve perfect papers, he would realize that I had been controlling my marks all these years. I turned on English listening audio in my room, as if I was studying, and secretly slipped out. Lin Feng went straight up to my stepfather's study. I hid outside the door and listened. I heard Lin Feng's voice saying, "Dad, I'm not lying. There were full score papers in Liang Chen's room. What if he's been pretending to be stupid all along and fooling all of us?" My stepfather didn't believe it. He said, "Who would deliberately get low marks? Don't talk nonsense." My heart lightened a little, but then my mother's voice came. She said, "Husband, Feng Feng's words are not entirely impossible. Don't worry, let me handle this matter." My heart sank. Mother and Lin Feng came out of the study. Lin Feng asked my mother, "Did you already know that Liang Chan was acting? Are you protecting him?" My mother said, "Not really. It's just that when he was little, his marks used to be quite good. Of course, he couldn't compare with you. Earlier, he was only slightly behind you. Then gradually he dropped a lot. And yes, I have occasionally seen fully corrected papers while cleaning his room. I felt cold all over. My mother didn't love me, but in this house, she was the one who knew me best." Lin Feng said angrily, "What if he suddenly shows his real ability in the college entrance exam to impress Dad? I won't let him suppress me." My mother comforted him and said, "Liang Chen won't be able to score better than you. If you're still scared, I have a way. Liang Chen has a seafood allergy. Before the college entrance exam, I'll feed him some seafood. He'll get an allergy and won't even be able to take the exam. Even if he does, he won't be able to get a good score." At that moment, my hands and feet turned to ice. My own mother, just to make Lin Feng happy, was planning to ruin her real son's future. I understood then that my mother didn't love Lin Feng. She only loved herself. She just wanted her position in this house. Finally, one morning before the exam, my mother made a lavish breakfast. She said to me, "Chun Chun, I made your favorite beef porridge. Eat it quickly." I looked at the bowl. As a child, I loved my mother's beef porridge, but she hadn't made it for me in years. Today, with the exam so near, she was suddenly showing love. I carefully smelled it. Hidden inside the beef porridge was a faint seafood smell. If I hadn't known about their scheme in advance, I might have been emotional for my mother's sudden affection and eaten it. But now I only felt pain. I smiled slightly and said, "Thank you, Mom. I want to revise a bit more. Can I take this to my room to eat?" My mother didn't suspect anything. I took the bowl to my room and threw it all away without a word. As I did this, tears started falling from my eyes. I truly couldn't believe my mother could be so ruthless. But no matter what her plan, I had to save my future. Before leaving for the exam center, I went to the bathroom. I used to look at the bubble above my head in the mirror every day, which was always around 238. But today, as soon as I looked, I froze. Above my head was written, 740 marks, Tsinghua University. Then I understood everything. These bubbles don't show fixed destiny, but predict the future based on current circumstances. If I had fallen in my mother and Lin Feng's trap, the seafood allergy would have ruined the exam, and my score would have stayed around 200. But now I had escaped their plan. So my real future score had returned, 740 Tsinghua. On the way to the exam center, my mother said lovingly, "Liang Chun, don't be too nervous in the exam. If you feel uncomfortable anywhere, tell me. Health is more important than the exam." I laughed inside, but on the outside I hid my face and said, "I'm feeling a little uncomfortable, but it's okay, I'll manage." Hearing this, my mother breathed a faint sigh of relief. At the exam center, I made an excuse to go to the washroom and hid in the crowd. I overheard my mother and Lin Feng talking. Lin Feng was asking, "Is your plan solid?" Liang Chen's face looks normal. My mother said, "Seafood allergy doesn't happen instantly. Didn't you see he's already uncomfortable? Once he's in the exam hall, he won't be able to do anything." Hearing this, I started acting even better. Walking towards the gate, I kept clutching my stomach and pretending. But at the gate, I saw a familiar girl, Jiangwan. She was also at my exam center. Her beauty shone distinctly in the crowd. She saw me, raised an eyebrow, and asked, "You're taking the exam here too?" I nodded. When the invigilator was calling students in, Jiangwan suddenly came close to me and said, "Liang Chun, see you at Tsinghua." I was shocked. Did Jiangwan already know I was acting? But there was no time to think now. I entered the exam hall, took a deep breath, and put all distractions aside. It was time to change my life. The morning exam ended. My parents didn't come to pick me up. They had gone to Lin Feng's exam center. I took advantage of this opportunity. In the washroom, I applied blush I had secretly taken from my mother's dressing table to my face to create a swollen red look like a seafood allergy. When I met my parents, my mother asked dramatically, "What happened? Did you eat something wrong outside?" "We specially avoided seafood at home." I said softly, "Maybe I accidentally ate something." Lin Feng couldn't hide his joy. He said, "Brother, I think you'd better not take the exam. Anyway, your marks are so bad. What difference would it make?" My mother also said gently, "Chun Chun, you've had an allergy. Why don't you skip this exam?" I could clearly hear the poison hidden in her gentle voice. A real mother would have treated the allergy and let me continue or made a plan for next year. But my mother wanted me to quit the exam. I acted like I was in pain and said, "Mom, I can still endure it." She didn't stop me again. Perhaps she thought I wouldn't do well anyway in this condition. I completed the entire exam with this fake allergy act. After the exam, I deliberately looked as if I had done badly. Only I knew that I had done very well, estimated around 740. Tsinghua was certain, but I continued acting until the admission letter arrived. My mother comforted me. "It's okay, Liang Chun. If the result is bad, you could go to a vocational college." I let those words pass like air. Before the results were announced, our class had a gathering. In the KTV room, some were happy, some were crying, some couples were hugging and emotional from fear of breaking up. I sat bored on the side. Then the class monitor, a sweet and patient girl, stood up with a microphone. Her face was red. She said, "Liang Chun, I have something to tell you. I didn't say it earlier so as not to affect studies. But today I want to say that I like you." The room froze for a moment, then everyone started cheering. I was stunned too. I knew the monitor treated me well, but I hadn't thought she liked me. I was still thinking how to reject her when Lin Feng's laughter was heard. He said, "Monitor, I know my brother is handsome, but don't forget, he's completely useless in studies. Are you sure about your decision?" The monitor said, "I think true love can overcome these difficulties." Lin Feng taunted, "You can go to first-tier university. Liang Chun scores around 200. Maybe he won't even get into any university. What about his future job and home?" His words fell on the monitor like cold water. People also started talking that Liang Chun was handsome, but his marks were terrible. He wasn't worthy of the monitor. I was thinking whether to thank Lin Feng for solving my problem by giving me an easy way to reject the monitor, or to be angry for humiliating me again in public. Just then, a cold laugh came from the side. Jiangwan was standing there. Everyone fell silent. She looked at the monitor and said, "Lin Feng's words are not wrong. If two people want to be together, the gap in scores shouldn't be too big. So you and Liang Chun should forget it. Liang Chun and I will be going to almost the same level of school. Liang Chun, why don't you just say yes to me?" The room exploded again. Everyone started shouting. 2 confessions in one night. The monitor and Jiangwan, even if she was a joke with bad grades, she was still the school beauty. People said Liang Chun's luck was amazing. Some said Jiangwan was right. Both would go to the same low-level college, so a relationship could work. I agreed with their point. The only difference was they thought we'd go to mediocre colleges, and I knew we'd both go to Tsinghua. I looked at Jiangwan. My heart was beating fast. I asked, "Are you serious?" She said, "Of course, but you don't need to answer now. Remember our deal. Give me your answer when we reach university." Time passed quickly. Result day arrived. My parents were nervously checking Lin Feng's result in the morning. I also stood on the side. Lin Feng saw me and taunted, "Brother, your result will be bad anyway. Why are you nervous? You do work hard though. Then why do your marks come out so bad? Maybe the issue is in your blood. Our fathers are different. My parents' genes are better than yours. That's why no matter how hard you try, you can never surpass me." My mother's face immediately turned stiff. My stepfather said, "Lin Feng is right." My mother gave an awkward smile and said, "Maybe it's time for the results." I ignored Lin Feng and refreshed the result. The number appeared on the screen, 740. Exactly like the bubble. On the other side, Lin Feng's result was also what I had seen, 682. He got excited, then looked at my screen and froze. I said, I got 740 points. Lin Feng screamed, nonsense. That can't happen. He looked at my screen and became completely stunned. My mother also turned to stone. But then she asked again, you didn't really have an allergy that day, did you? I said, exactly. Mom, sorry your plan failed. Her face turned pale. I asked them, do you still think there's an issue with genes? The next day was my 18th birthday. I immediately moved out of the house. My biological father had left some property for me. After university, I could do part-time jobs and tutoring. I didn't need money from my mother. After that day, I had no connection with that family. When leaving the house, only one thing stopped me. I accidentally looked at Lin Feng's head. His bubble had changed, 480 marks. No university name. I was surprised. The exams were over. How could the score change? Later I got the answer. Lin Feng was jealous of my 740 score. His own 682 marks were already excellent, but he decided to repeat a year just to get into Tsinghua University. His logic was, if Liang Chun can do it, why can't I? But the pressure the next year was so great that he was late on exam day, did badly, and got 480 marks. He didn't even cross the first-tier admission line. He wanted to repeat again, but his father refused and sent him abroad directly. I heard that after going abroad, he fell into bad habits, indulging in all kinds of vices. His father was so disappointed that he left him to his own devices. Later, my stepfather wanted another son, but my mother was too old. So he kept a young woman outside who gave him a son. As soon as the child was born, he divorced my mother. My mother later regretted it deeply. She came looking for me many times, but I blocked her because I no longer needed her. I looked at Jiang Wan sitting across from me in the library, and a faint smile appeared on my lips. Today, I had my own future, and I had people who truly valued me.